Yep, I hear you. What up? What up? What up? It's your hero SupaTim here with another edition of Say What the Go Show, streaming exclusively on Go Royalty app, the best place in the world to get all of your Go needs. Now tapping into the Go podcast world. On today's show, we always have people on here. Everybody that come on the show doesn't have to be a go artist because everybody loves go. And in my eyes, everybody who's a go fan should have a place to express their fandom, their history, their knowledge, and everything else about go. And on today's show, we got a DMV representative, Mr. Donnie B GotDaBeats.
Hey,
What's good,
hey,
Donnie?
hey, nothing, bro. What's going on with you?
Everything's good, chilling. On a beautiful day here in the DMV.
Hey, man, I love it. I actually still getting climatized back on being inside, man. 10 years in LA will do that to you, man. But ain't no place like home. You already know.
That's what's up. Coming back to DMV, how long was you in LA? You
Ten
said 10
years,
years?
10 years to the year.
So you've been back for a year.
Nah, I can't. So I went in 2015, and now I'm back in
Hmm.
2025. So I'm literally
Oh,
fresh
you
back.
just coming back. So
Yeah.
it's a lot has changed. A lot has changed in the
Eh, a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't. You
you
know what I
go
mean? I mean,
out to California.
I'm sorry, say again.
Go out to California.
You broke up a bit. You said something about going out to California.
Yeah, why'd you go out to California?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, man, I just needed a change. Growing up here in the DMV, the only time I got away from being in the DMV before I left to go to California is I went to Hampton, in Southern VA. So shout out to Hampton and Hampton Roads. But then I came back, and I came back from Hampton in around 2001, 2002. So from 2001, 2002 to 2015, I was in the DMV, trying to hit the bricks and did a lot of stuff, but I just wanted to change. I got tired of feeling stuck like in mediocrity. I've always been one that always wanted to expand, and I always kind of had the thought process with regard to branding. So I just wanted to do something different. I felt that I kind of out my aggressiveness and my diligence outgrew me being here, and I wanted to seek other places, and it was between New York, Atlanta, or LA, and an opportunity presented itself between New York and LA, and I chose the latter. I was like, I've already tried New York. Definitely spent a lot of time in Atlanta. I ain't did a lot of work in LA. So I went out LA to try to see what LA had to offer and learn while I was there, and that's what took me out there.
So as a go fan, you're also a musician in your own right as well, right?
Yeah, of course, of course, of course. Got a pretty decent background actually on the circuit. And a lot that I'm glad that you asked that question because a lot of people don't really know because I don't really talk about it much. And not a lot of people ask. But everybody knows, man. DC. Let me not say the DMV. Let's be realistic. DMV. I mean the DC as well as PG County, and some could say Howard County. I'm sorry, Mo County. Like that's the region. That's the territory of go man. Like you can't like I heard Pharrell kick nonsense about Southern Vietnam. It's DC, and everybody know that's this is the haven for go. This is what it is right now. So um, I spent a little time on the circuit. I played with some bands that some people may or may not have heard of. The Hucklebucks back in the day. And I played keys with them. So shout out to Charlie and the whole team for from the Hucklebucks. And I also spent a lot of time playing with Obsession Band. So shout out to D and Everett and Telly and the whole team over there. They really kicking butt right now. So, but spend time on the circuit. I learned a lot while being in go and being around go and just it's nothing. It's just no sound in the world like go man. It just isn't, man. So, yeah.
So you was a musician first and got involved in or was go the reason why you became a musician?
Good question. So I was a musician first. My dad was actually a bassist with some funk bands in the '70s, and he produced a couple records with some of those bands, and there was a couple well known songs of well known bands. And so I grew up in the house, nothing but music every weekend. I learned how to play my first instrument when I was 4. I picked up a trumpet in the 4th grade, and didn't look back. And from that point, I've played. Ran a gambit. I run about. I play about 25 different instruments. I just
Mm.
don't. I don't. I don't practice them nearly as much as I used to. But I ran a gambit, and so musician first, and then got introduced to the opportunity to play with the Hucklebucks. And I was playing in actually a couple young bands prior to that, when I was in high school. And even in high school, that's really when I got indoctrinated into go-go, because we played in a top 40 band for the school at Fairmont Heights High School. The band was Malika 3, so shout out to Malika 3, which produced a lot of well-known local talent. And we all came up in a program together. And from that point, I transitioned over to go-go and did go-go for about 10 years. And then I wanted to go off on my own, and then that's when I started to turn towards myself and do my own thing.
So was it like being in a go-go scene? You see with Hucklebucks, Obsession Band. Hucklebucks had their moment where like they was one of the bands not only that people knew, but like hits on the radio and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Like, was it like you felt like a superstar?
You know what? You know what? I guess in some ways,
Because a lot of
I would
guys
like
in
to say
the
yeah.
go-go world, well,
I would like to say
okay,
so, but I never really thought, my mind, the way I process, I don't take celebrity like everybody else takes celebrity. Like, to me, it's not about all of that. You know what I mean? So for
no,
me, I just like I like the energy of creation. So I'm a creator by trade. That's what I do. You know what I mean? So like like Lennon said, you give me a tuba, I get you something out of it. You know what I mean? Like, and I play the tuba too. So you know what I mean? So with the Hucklebucks, it was different because the Hucklebucks, are not a lot of people know that the Hucklebucks was one of the highest grossing go-go bands of all time. Like,
mm,
on fact, you know what I mean. So to be able to be around that group and play the Bud and 64 times and all of that stuff was, it was low key. It was I fangirled when I first started playing with them. I ain't even gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, but then I locked in real quickly and then did it. And I played with them a couple years, and then started to do my own thing. And then while I was in the process of doing my own thing and building up something for myself, the opportunity got presented for me to play in Obsession. And so then that's when I got on with Obsession, and I ran with Obsession for a good number of years actually. Um, and then at that point, the last thing I played at was off of 301. I forgot the name of the joint. And for that point, I was just like, what, I really need to start doing my own thing. And it was nothing they did. I just was just like, it's time. You know what I mean? And no pun intended. And then just went and wanted to chase the dream. So.
what's the dream?
Well, I'm a music producer by trade. I mean, that is the one thing I would say, that if I rolled out of bed every day, that's what I want to do: make beats, produce tracks, produce music, all different genres. I have roughly about 2,500 to 3,000 tracks that's literally just sitting there right now. That I got to figure out what to do with them. But I make music in that regard. But in order for me to, when I wasn't selling them early, I started to rap to my own beats to try to showcase the fact that I make beats. And then from that point, it became, I guess, what's the best way to put it? It became a situation as to where I felt I had to prove a lot of stuff to a lot of different people, because everybody always saw me as a producer. They never saw me as an artist. And one thing with me, and I like puzzles, I like challenges, and I like games, my dude. So I'm like, yo, like, nah, if you don't think I'm good at this, then now I gotta show you. And so then I just developed this insatiable appetite to just eat. You know what I mean? Like, so if people want to, you want bars, I give you bars. You want beats, I give you beats. You want videography, I give you videography. You want graphic design, ill freehand artist. You know what I mean? And I can whip you up something on the computer too. You know what I mean? So, I just learned to be ambidextrous like that.
Mhm. So as a producer in a go-go band,
Mhm.
how much were you involved in actually creating the music?
I would say, I mean, with the Huckabucks, obviously not. I mean, they was already baked in. That was already a baked in brand where they already had hits and so forth and so on. And Charlie ran a tight ship. Um, but with regard to Obsession was definitely lucid. Um, I had potential. Like they still, I think, still play one of the joints that I produced with them. Um, and I don't know how much because like I said, been gone 10 years. But I know I asked D about that song. He was like, "Oh yeah, we play it from time to time." But it's one of those things. It's the where it's like it's being a producer for those bands, like especially like I said with the opportunity with Obsession. Um, it feels good just to know you created something that it lives and breathes, and that's the beautiful thing about Go Go is because not every show is the same. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
there's different, people play it different. Like, you might get a different swing this day. You might get a different and it's all based off of the lead talker in the crowd. And it's like that fluidity that I always loved and appreciate about it. And to be a producer of that is great. And I do want to say I do love the fact that now being back, I've been to a number of events and there's a lot more really, 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 really good go-go bands out. B, there are a lot more. Their song selection is way more diverse than when I left. Like way
Mhm.
more, and it's just so much talent now, and it's definitely, it's just great to hear. It feels good. It sounds good. I got to see Kimberly Michelle. When I first got back, like the first weekend I got back, and I shot that and put that up on YouTube, and like within a month that joint got like 20,000 views. And I don't want to take no credit for that, like at all. They just sounded really, really, really amazing. And Cody, the artist, was there, and her band was playing. They killed it too. You know what I mean? Patrice live. I saw Patrice live. Patrice live killed it. Like you know what I mean? So it's just great to hear good music and just organically and organically and sonically pleasing music. It's just crazy. It's crazy right now.
I can agree with you. We have a lot of talented bands
Mm,
from the standpoint of we have a lot of people that can play a lot of different music. But
hmm
specifically for my issue with go-go now, and over the last 10 years, you've been gone, and there's been a lot of craziness in the go-go community, especially with social media. You got all these groups and all this conversation. People able to say a lot of stuff that they can't say, but now you have platforms on Facebook to do it. A lot of us OG, triple OGs who came up in the 80s and 90s listening to go-go,
Right.
is kind of itching for the creativity. Now
hmm
you can get a band and they can play Sade and then they can play Maroon 5 and then you can play like all these different. You can cover a wide variety of different songs because you're good musicians. But
hmm
to me, it's the difference between a musician
Yeah, I
because a
I get that.
musician can just play. A musician can just play the notes. This is a song, play the notes, and they play it, and it's wonderful. Whether it's a keyboard, a drum, or whatever the case may be. But the difference between what we have going on now with the newer bands that came out over the last 10 to 15 years with the grown and sexy movement and things of that nature. Nobody's tapping into the creativity to create music that your band is specifically known for. Because we all came up, like I said, in the 80s and 90s. And if you say a certain band, you can run off songs that's
Right,
just from that band. Or if you
right,
hear a certain song, you know exactly what band it is because that song is because of that band.
right.
You could just be riding down the street. Oh, that's no fees. He down, he running the corner cranking that JY. Because they have a specific sound one and
Yeah.
specific songs that are our songs. So anybody can play uh, boots on the ground. And
Right.
I've heard way too many people play boots on the ground. And
Yeah, but
how
say
do you
that
know
too.
which? Yeah, it's like how do you know whose band is who if everybody's kind of doing the same thing? Even if you try to change how you do boots on the ground, it's
Right.
still kind of like it's not yours. Even if we look at like Anita Baker, I mean nobody does Anita Baker but Junkyard. Nobody
Right.
does a thong song but Backyard. Nobody does Pieces of Me but Essence. But even though those are covers, we know those bands. We specifically know those covers to be connected to those bands. But and we know that Go Go started off as top 40 music, and it started off kind of just playing what's on the radio, but it evolved to a point where most of the Go Go bands, probably 10% of the show or 10% of the music that they made was cover music. And they
Hmm.
can, I think they've continued to have that element into what they do because of the history of Go Go and where it started. But now it's like, okay, you go to the Taj Mahal, you go to the Ibex, 90% of the show is going to be that band's music. And you
Right.
might open up with a cover, you might come back from the break with a cover, and that's all close with a cover, and that's it.
Right.
Now you get cover from beginning to
Right.
end. And
Yeah.
again, it sounds wonderful. You might add your little spin to it to spice it up with a little go-go feel, but at the end of the day, where's the creativity? Where's the originality?
Yeah.
Um, as a group of artists, as opposed to a group of musicians. As like I said, as a producer and as a rapper, and you've been to California, do you think,
Hmm.
and being in bands who, like you said, grossed a lot of money because they had radio hits, do you think Go Go, despite all the bands, do you think Go Go from 10 years ago when you left to now that you come back, outside of, like I said, the number of bands that it is, do you think Go Go has grown from a creativity standpoint, a business standpoint, um, a branding standpoint, of that nature to be more than just something we go to the club and see?
First of all, you hit on a lot of very extremely valid points. And I 1000% agree with everything that you said. Um, I think it's grown from a business aspect, business aspect.
Mm,
The reason why I say that is because there's a lot of bands now. You know what I mean? And back in the day, you could, if there was five bands, maybe six bands that was well known playing at the same time, you were lucky.
mhm,
But there's a lot of bands now. Marketing wise, I mean that's a horse of a different color because I mean marketing is promotion or lends to promotion. Promotion lends to how many people have access to your brand or what your product is. And just outside of DC, nobody's really talking about GoGo. I mean, just be honest with you.
mm,
You
mm,
know what I mean? And with regard to creativity, I mean, I think the creativity is there. What I will say is I think people are scared. For me, it's one of those things as to where it's like to me, I'm always trying to find a creative sound, but I do it. I don't base it off of anything that is. I don't. It's not derivative of what people have already done. It's a feeling. I'm want anybody that knows me and anybody that's done music with me, they understand. Like I go based on it's gotta feel a certain kind of way. And I don't care what people I don't because I don't do it for people. I do it for the art. So
mm,
for me, I feel like there is a like to me there it's no I think the Roots perfected what should have been a go-go band out of the area. I think the Roots absolutely nailed it. And I didn't really feel when they first came out there was much difference between what was already out in DC and them at that time. I feel like now we have people that have this the panache and stage presence to be able to compete, but I don't feel that they absolutely have a clairvoyance to be able to get out there and just work them. I know a ton of
mm,
people that I got people right now that have gone on and left DC that are absolute powerhouse singers, powerhouse writers, powerhouse rappers, and would run the circles around plenty of people, including people here. And I mean, I know people here that that are powerhouse as well, that run circles around people. I don't feel like I think people are scared at this point, me as an artist, I'm not scared about what people think. I'm not scared who's trying to come to me and bring it to me. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about, you know what I mean? So creatively, I agree with you. I didn't look at it from that perspective, but yeah, I would like to see more diversified portfolios, as it were, or where just people just doing something that nobody ever heard before, or create new melodies, create new songs, and so forth and so on. Because like you said, if I hear another Before I Let Go, I swear I'm about to I'm gonna let go. you know. So I feel you.
And
I feel you.
I've talked to some go-go bands about like the aspect of doing covers and the grown and sexy and doing original music. And some have told me that, excuse me, it's the inability to be able to write. Again, you have musicians, percussionists, keyboard players, horns, guitars, all of them can play the music.
Mhm.
But if you don't have people in general, it don't make a difference who it is in the band that can be creative enough to come up with the vocals, then you just got a lot of people. Like you have a person that can talk and say whoever's at the show. You got the females that's going to sing. You got the guy that's going to sing. You got the backup talker that's going to back you up. But out of all these people who are so-called musicians or performers, you have no, again, creators. But the biggest issue I have is that with all, like I always say, I'm like a go-go scientist. Like I don't just listen to go-go. Like whenever I'm listening to go-go or watching a video or even at a performance, like a live performance in the show, I'm more looking at stuff and breaking down what's going on as opposed to just enjoying the music. And one thing I've noticed, and I did a YouTube video about it, where I break down go-go, is that go-go pretty much, the go-go that we know is pretty much nothing but short, repetitive phrases.
Agreed. Break
That's
beats.
no,
Yeah.
just short, repetitive phrases. You know, you can go through a junkyard tape, backyard tape, groove tape, acid tape, and whatever they do is very is not very often, unless it's like a Donnell Floyd. Donnell Floyd is a good writer. Donnell Floyd and Frank Sirius, they're actual musicians who can write. So anytime they in a band, you're gonna get some bars and you're gonna get some actual lyrics.
Mhm.
But outside of like stuff like that or like old school treble funk and stuff like that, you're only getting short, repetitive phrases. Like I say, you can go. So the songs that I talked about on the video was "Rough It Off,"
Mhm.
um, EU Freeze, I believe the EU Freeze.
Mhm.
I want to say Take Me Out. What time it is? Tell me, do you know what time it is?
Mhm.
And Sexy Lady, Sexy Lady.
Mhm.
And within those four songs, and it's probably about 2 minutes into each song to kind of get a gist of it. The only band that had an actual like 16 bar verse was UCB because Rock Mikey, the lead talker of UCB, is also a rapper. So
Mhm.
you have somebody that can write verses to go in with the music. But everybody else, everything else was just, if you think of Rough It Off, what do they say? How does Rough It Off go? It's just pretty much rough it off, rough it off.
Like a bug.
And it's crazy because anytime I talk to people about it, it's like, you are so right. Like, I never noticed that. Like, it's pretty much just rough it off, rough it off, rough it off, rough it off. And then they go to another part, and then it's another different short phrase of like 3 or 4 words.
Yeah.
And when I'm thinking about this and breaking this down and then talking to go-go bands and just trying to open their eyes to like, look, we came up on this and we love this and we repeat this and we sing this and we go crazy when they play this. But you never figured out that it's just a bunch of short phrases. This short phrase for this 8 measures. Then we go to another short phrase that's repeated over another 8 measures. And then we probably bring it back to the top to the first set of phrases. And then a beat break for 8 measures. And I'm like, again, I'm a scientist with shit. So I'm like, y'all can't at least do that for all the people that talk about, okay, we don't write, we don't have any writers. Okay, you can listen to any song or you could just be having a conversation and somebody say something. You got, oh, I can use that in a song and that'll be, you know what I'm saying, my
Yeah.
next new groove. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I'm like, what up, Joe? You can say something as simple as what up, Joe?
Yeah.
And make a whole song if you creative. What up, Joe? Which I want. Hey, what up? And if you creative, you
Yeah.
can do it. But is I've heard people talk about the aspect of not being able to write, despite the fact that the majority of our music that we love is not even full verses; it's just repetitive phrases. But I've also heard people talk about how there's, like you said, they're scared because they don't want to create something that people don't like.
Yeah,
So they stick
exactly.
to this what's safe, which is a song that they already know from off the radio.
Exactly.
And I always ask people like, okay, the first time you heard "Rough It Off," was you like, oh, I don't like that because it's new? It crank. You know what I'm saying? When you heard it for the first time, you're like, oh, that shit crank, and now we love it. So you can't be scared as a musician or artist to, like you said, try stuff, try new stuff for the sake of the art, and just trust your art and that this is something that the people gonna love. And I think
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
a big part of what's missing in Go Go.
I think yeah, and I would challenge people to look at it from a different perspective. But I definitely 1,000% agree with you. I mean, honestly, I think it's an infancy stage, pretty much where hip hop first got started when Cool Herc and them was doing their parties. You know what I mean? Like to me, it was all it was loops and breakbeats, and then
Hmm.
the MCs came in and flossed it, right? And I think that that's the thing. Like you said, anybody could come up with a Run Joe or like you said, you know what I mean? Like I don't like you said, you nailed it. Is that people are scared to not be liked? And my thing is
Hmm.
this: the thing about me and my personality type is I'm not for everybody. So I don't
Yeah.
care about that. I don't care about if you don't like it. You don't like it, great. I got another joint you might like. Check that one out if you
Hmm.
stay around long enough. You know what I mean? But I mean, and the only reason why I ain't in the go-go space right now is because I'm just getting back home. You know what I mean? But I already know how to weaponize and get it. You just give me like for real. If I had just a conga player, a drummer, and a bass player, I probably kill him just off of that, just because.
Hmm.
Because those are
Hmm.
just the essential roots of what you need.
Yep. Pretty
You know
much. It don't take much. I mean,
no,
rock and roll bands have a drummer and just guitars.
exactly,
And some of the
exactly.
best music that's come out of the rock and roll, alternative rock, heavy metal, what the case may be, is just a drummer and guitars and lyrics that people love, that people can sing
Yeah,
along to, can relate to. And so, it don't take much to make good music. And I remember when I was in high school, me and another guy, he played the drums, I played the congos. We would, if we was in a class together, all we needed was a desktop.
there
All
you
we needed was
go.
a table. All I needed was the hood of a car, a wall,
Yeah.
and you would think you was listening to Junkyard because we were Junkyard fans and we knew all the songs, all the beats, and we would be wherever we could find a place that could make a beat or make a sound, and he would be doing the drum beat, I'd be doing the Congo beat, some other guy we know. They know everybody else would know the words, and we'll be the ones doing all the beats because we was the musicians that knew the beats, and that's all we needed. Like I think we have people now that love go go so much that they want to be a part of it. Um, they bring in musicians to play music, but nobody really. The people that are bringing the musicians together are not people who are artists or understand how they know what go-go is, because for us it's like anything you put a congo to. You have a regular song and you just throw some congos in there, and now it's go-go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Uh,
that's a tragic, and I don't mean to cut you off, but that's a
yeah,
tragic ending to the story. I think that's the thing. Too many people trying to be a go-go band instead of being a band that plays go-go,
yeah,
and I think that's really it's a mindset switch. You know what I mean? Because if you were to have a band that comes up and that can play, you will hit a mean pocket. You know what I mean? Or have everything you know what I'm saying in the vein of go-go, but you just do take it different directions or you know, flex it a bit, then I think that's just the thing. Like you said, when the only reason why I say all that is because you mentioned about all of the players coming, getting together and trying to jive and create this sound. But I think that's it. It's just I'm not trying to play go-go music. I'm trying to play music, but I want to do it that way. I want to do
Yeah.
it that way. So I can do A B C D E F G, but put a pocket on that motherfucker and let it rock.
Mm.
And you know what I mean?
And
To me, that how else you would get the kids to learn how to, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the vibe. That's the fill a void,
you,
right?
what's
So
crazy is Backyard actually did that.
you see what I'm saying? And I
I
didn't
was
even
it
know
last
that.
year, or like is it last year, 2 years? Backyard collaborated with some school and did like a go-go ABC song. It was like on channel on the news and all types of stuff. So yeah, I mean, anything you can put to a go-go beat is anything you put to a go-go beat can be go-go. But like you said, are you a musician that does go-go, or are you just, you know what I'm saying, a go-go band that just want to put everything to a go-go sound and not
Exactly.
really tap into um like the creativity? Because you look at the people that came before us, like I said in the 70s, 80s when it first started, like they were musicians. Chuck Brown did jazz as well as go-go. And
Absolutely.
even though he created go-go, whatever, he was a musician. He was a self-taught musician, first of all,
Hmm.
to the point where, well, he's self-taught as it relates to playing the guitar. He probably already had the creativity, the creative aspect to create music, just was didn't know any instruments until he learned how to play the guitar in jail. But he could switch it and do a jazz album, or do something with a jazz musician, somebody like that, and then come back and use that same kind of jazz funk feel and spin it to make go-go, and then still do that as well and make classics that, you know what I'm saying, we still do to this day. And when it comes to bands like Black Alley,
Yeah, Black
you can
Alley.
tell
Shout out to
who
Danny.
are you could tell who are like the people who are go-go, like really into go-go, and the people who are really into music.
Right.
Like you, if you're into music and one of the forms of music you like is go-go, then you can appreciate a Black Alley because they're so diverse and they add something different to go-go.
Yeah.
You can hear the go-go obviously, but then you see everything else they add to their style of go-go, as opposed to the old heads who's like, oh, if it ain't a Congo beat to a pocket, then it ain't go-go. No, it's go-go, it's just a different type of go-go. It's okay for
Exactly.
go-go to expand and add an electric guitar as opposed to just a bass and everybody else's go-go, and do different types of covers if you decide to do a cover and fit go-go within your music, as
Yeah.
opposed to, like I said, this is what go-go is, we're going to do something within what go-go is. Music lasts and music evolves because music grows.
Exactly.
And if you're not
Has to.
willing to grow, if you're not willing to grow, then you're going to be just like Gogo is and stuck in one region where the people of that region cherish it so much that they're going to keep supporting it and keep showing up for the events, regardless of how old the song is, how old the band is, who's making money, who's not making money, who's limited from making money. Because at the end of the day, somebody was saying like for the youngins, it was like, yeah, the youngins don't want to do go-go because ain't nobody making money on go-go. I'm saying nobody's making money on go-go. When you looking at every other form of music, the top musicians in whatever genre are probably millionaires living in a big house and got money. It's a
Yeah.
lot of people. It's a lot of these go-go musicians playing 30, 40 years and playing in the biggest bands in the area, still working a 9 to 5.
Yeah. 1000%. I know a bunch of them.
Mm.
Definitely. But I think
So
I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
how does it how can we get go-go to a place where people can at least make their go-go earnings their sole means of income and live a comfortable life?
Well, here's the thing. This is and this. I'm glad you're asking these questions because these are actually really really dope questions. I think here's what I have to say with regard to that that money aspect of it. Live music is always where it's at. Be ye not fooled in believing that. Um, sorry about that. Be ye not fooled that streams and singles is where the money is. That's for any musician on any part of the in any part of the music industry. It's never been about that. It's never been about singles. It's never been about your records. It's been about merchandising and live performances. It's always where you make your money. So Gogo has the mindset and it could make a lot of money. The problem with that is it's too many gatekeepers in Go, and there's too many people that don't understand marketing and promotion. Because if that's the case, then why aren't all of these go-go bands with music videos? Like shout out to Obsession. I gotta say, Obsession is you know they putting in the work to do that. You know what I mean? Like you gotta have music videos out. Like back in the day, I'm gonna tell you right now, and Super Tim, I think you we from around the same era. When the box was out, I couldn't go a
True.
day without seeing some goddamn work in the walls on the box. I know that.
You can go back
I
to the
know
you
that
can go
joint,
back to the butt.
man. I the butt that was in the
Doing the
movie,
butt
but the
on the
butt was
box.
it was on the box. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Like that's marketing and promo. That's why those bands. That's why you know those bands, and that's why these other bands because they don't get it. They don't understand it, and they rather than sit back and listen to put people that may be able to instruct them or get them in a different place. Nobody want to listen. Everybody brain so
Mhm.
smart. And I think that that's where it kills go-go is because like performing in the space in the genre, you have to evolve. You have
Mhm.
to evolve. Everything that you do has to evolve. You can't be stagnant. I mean, be in the same place because you're going to be stagnant. I don't care what you do, what industry you're in. So that's the thing. Marketing and promo has to be high key. Okay, and then from that point well, let's build it. You got to have a good product first. You got to be able to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And here's the other piece that nobody's talking about with regard to go-go. Sorry, I'm going down a different lane right quick. But whoever the lead talker is, that's an art.
Mhm. Say it
And you know what
again.
I'm
Say
saying?
it for the people in the back.
Being a lead talker is an art. There's a lot of great singers, and there's a lot of great singers that run some of these go-go bands. You know what I mean? But you're a singer with a band. the
Mhm.
the greatest bands, their lead talkers were legendary. Like
Yeah.
they knew what the crowd needed, when they needed it, how to get out of a break, how to get into a break, how to slide it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's artful. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Big G, when Big G hit the scene, and that wasn't even Backyard ain't even my favorite band. No, was it my favorite band? No shade, because I love all of them. But when I heard Big G, like I remember seeing him, I think it was like out Glass Manor Day or something way back in the day. And them dudes hit a pocket for like 45 minutes. I lost my mind because G was just hold it. And man, like I still talk about that to this day because to me it's like like to be able to know that and just keep people in this like and nobody left the stage, nobody moved out the way, nobody got tired. He just worked them. And then I just saw this band, the pure elegance, I
Mhm.
think, and like he nailed it. Like nailed it in the I mean nailed it. Yeah, pure elegance. And then also the pressure band. Saw both of them as well. And both of them like they was then their sets was like okay, but pure elegance, man, they just cold hit it. Like I was like, man, wherever y'all at, the world they ain't with y'all. I'm with y'all. Cause y'all there. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think that's a thing. You gotta have a good lead talker, somebody that can literally pull people on this journey, and
Mhm.
then everybody else follow. Then you have the right management team, and to work out the marketing, the promo, and all of that stuff. And that piece right there, that marketing and promo and management. That's where we start spinning out of control, and that's why
Mhm.
all of these gatekeepers and people that they don't want to listen. They think their brain's so big. Then at the end of the day, then stay regional. Then, and that's how I feel
Mhm.
about it.
I think for a lead talker, the lead talker is usually the guy who everybody in the neighborhood knows
Fair.
because he has the charisma, he has social skills to be able to talk to anybody, relate to anybody, spark a conversation with anybody, make anybody feel comfortable around them, because that's what they do on stage. When you
Yep.
hear a good lead talker talking, they talking when the band is playing, when the lead talker's talking, he bring, like I said, pulling everybody in and making everybody a part of the show. I was talking to T Bob. I did an interview with T Bob uh,
Hmm.
back in 2024, talking about 331. He is
Hmm.
now not T Bob anymore. He said call him Mr. 331. And we did an interview on 331, kind of going back to that time, kind of talk about stuff that people really never knew about. Like you heard the tape, and it's a classic tape to the point where
Hmm.
he's now calling himself Mr. 331. But it was a lot about that I wanted to touch on. And I was like, so who came up with like the lineup? Because I've been around a couple of bands, and like before they go into a show, like you have a lineup. What we're gonna do? I was like, so who came up with the lineup? He was like, we ain't had no lineup. He was like, I would just go on based on the feel of the crowd. Like he was a Sunday night. We found out Friday night that Bugs wasn't gonna be there because some issues with Bugs. And it wasn't like they had a time to really. I mean, they probably could have did a practice or something. But one, you've been doing it so long that everybody knows what to
Hmm.
do. It's just a matter. And more like some of the fans, if you think some of the fans, like a lot of the fans, Junkyard been around for 40 something years.
Yep.
So we've heard the music so much that we know when they switching from one song to the next
Yep.
without all the signs and all that stuff. So if we could do it, then yeah, they can do it. He's like, yeah, I was just going by like the feel of the crowd and whatever the feel was. He knew what song to come to next and what song to go through after that, and how to kind of take you on that journey, like you said, through the
Yeah.
show to the point
Art.
now where you can't talk about Junkyard without talking about 331. Even though Buzz wasn't there, it's still Junkyard. It was a moment for T Bob, Miss
Yeah.
331, that put him. It was like that 81 point Kobe game. You know what I'm saying? Is that one thing that you like, bro? I don't care what else you ever done in your career. You remember 331? Yeah, you always be submitted as one of the ghosts because of that one shining moment that you hit the game winner. Even though that's your only championship, you hit the game winner in that championship, so you
Yeah.
good in our book for the rest of your life. Man. But it takes
Yeah.
somebody who really knows the science and the art of the music and of as a performer. And he credited Bugs for teaching him a lot of that stuff, how to read the crowd and connect with the crowd. And now we got people that just like say you to sing, you have your singers and stuff like that. And whoever the lead talker is, he's just a person there to just say who's in the party. And a lot of the times the people that they shouting out ain't even in the party. Because everybody in the southeast.
Yeah.
Everybody up in
Yeah. Right.
Southeast, but every show is Southside this and Uptown that. You don't even know who they from. But
Exactly.
you feel like that's something you have to do as a lead talker is say these different crews, neighborhoods, people, whatever the case may be, as opposed to yes, if you're going to do that, know the people and connect with the people so that it's genuine when you say it. Don't just say anything. You know what I'm saying? Talk to people, get to know people. Like I said, the person, the dude in the hood, or the person who was most popular in high school, like they can just talk to people and know everybody. So if you come to the show, yeah, everybody going, he gonna know everybody. He already talked to you all day long or all week long, and already know your kids or whatever case may be. So when he's now talking to you in the show, it's that connection. It was a girl, you got a birthday going on tonight. She ain't have to tell him that. He already knew that.
E- Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well,
And stuff like that.
it's like you said, it's a level of comfort. You if you comfortable, everybody else be comfortable. You nervous, everybody else gonna be
Mm.
nervous for you. You know what I mean? Like I just did a showdown in Virginia for Fleet DJ. Shout out to Fleet DJs. And it's the same thing. Like I don't like something I always tell people. Like, yo, like going on stage, I tell people, look, even if I fuck up, it'll be the best fuck up you ever heard in your life. I don't worry about being. I don't worry about being bad. I don't worry about none of that. To me, it's I'm sharing myself with y'all, and either you want to vibe or you don't vibe. No, I don't want to bomb, but I will never bomb. You know what I mean? Just because I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it too long, and I think that that's the thing. Like you said, with these talkers, and with these bands, it's just At the end of the day, the best ones are the best ones that know how to relate, and
Hmm.
they just go and let it rip. And me, I've never been about lists or sets or nothing like this. If you practice long enough, and you the point guard, that's what the lead talkers are to me. You the point guard, dish. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So at the end of the day, like I said, that was the thing that I learned from G was like I said, you hold a 40-minute pocket. It's like, bro, listen, fuck or whatever list y'all got. That's a pocket for 40 minutes. We gonna stay right
hmm,
here. 'Cause, you know what I mean? Why change up the script? They can't stop this move in the paint over here. This is the dream shape.
yeah. And a person like G, he can, because of his ability to connect with the crowd, he can stay in that one pocket and just keep talking to the crowd for 40 minutes. And even though you ain't going to, you still in the pocket, you haven't switched songs, whatever the case may be. Him by himself in with the pocket is enough.
Exactly.
His presence, his voice, his crowd control, all of that that's all you need with a good lead talker. And you don't need to keep switching from song to song because he's gonna make his voice and what he says is going to make whatever beat wherever you're holding the beat at, make
Absolutely.
it entertaining to the crowd.
Absolutely. 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 So I mean, I think that's the thing with go-go. Go-go, if it's done right, it will always live. It will always live. But you gotta be scared to let you can't be scared to let the baby grow. The baby gotta grow. It's gotta go, gotta take it left. You know what I mean? It's got to go that way for the betterment of the people. If you want the people to eat, we got to go this way. And like you said, it's too many gatekeepers, too many people that want to see it. Nah, that ain't my go-go. Well, I'm sorry. Sorry, Christian. You know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch
Hmm.
of people that Kirk Franklin, nah, he took it left. And look at what Christian music is like now.
Yeah,
You know what I
if we
mean?
can we can same with go go. We got to stop. We got to stop being so. Now, I understand, like a lot of people say, okay, go go is the only genre of music created by black people that hasn't been infiltrated by corporate America or white people. And that's wonderful. But that doesn't that doesn't mean these are
I can think of
these are
one off the top of my head right now, but I mean, shout
yeah.
out to hell. You know what I mean? But
But yeah, that's what people say. I haven't done the research of all the styles of music that was created by black people, so I'm gonna just
yeah,
go
I
with
feel
that. But even if that's the case, and you want it to be a black owned thing and not be infiltrated by the industry, you can still grow it beyond the DMV. That just means somebody within GoGo has to learn the industry.
boom, boom. I'm gonna tell you right
You
now.
don't
There's
want,
like there's like three bands in go-go bands in LA right now that are from
yeah.
there. People are well, they might be from DMV, but they live there and they're playing. And like one is because Malachi was running DCAF, so the DC is
Hmm.
fuck. They over there doing it,
Hmm.
so it's doable.
Yeah.
Exactly what you
But
said.
you know what? DM people born and raised in the DMV here doing GoGo, that scares them. That
Mhm.
people outside, even if you from the DMV and you doing something somewhere else, everybody in the band is not from the DMV. So I've heard somebody say that they would hate for GoGo to be recognized like through the Grammys or something like that, just for somebody not from the DMV to win an award. They would hate that. They were like, they literally said they would hate for someone that's not from the DMV for GoGo to grow to a point where we have it on the Grammys and American Music Awards, what the case may be, in a specific Grammy category, and
Mm.
grow to be able to do that, but grow to the point where people outside of the DMV area are doing it and do it better.
What I would say to that is that you will never be able to get to the Grammys if you don't open it up to get people to look in the direction for you to be able to have that conversation.
Thank you.
One thousand
You
percent.
can't be you can't be mad if a band in St. Louis out crank you. You know what I'm saying? That's like
Yeah,
hip hop is from New York, but
like
you talk about the top five. You do your top five raps all time. Yeah, you're gonna have your Biggies and your Jay Z's, but not only will you have a Detroit rap
Yep.
on your top five, it's a white
Fine.
boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though we're supposedly going on our 50th anniversary of Go Go, and we just finished a couple years ago the 50th anniversary of hip hop,
Yep.
there's no way you can really celebrate Go Go the same way hip hop is celebrated because Go Go is nowhere close to being what hip hop is on is nowhere close to being Go Go.
Well,
I mean, what hip
what,
hop is. Now,
what
from a
I
creative, like artistic standpoint, yeah, the music is just as good, but the impact pretty much on society, on economy, on music as a whole, like you all, we were sized to get Essence on the BET Awards.
Right.
And the only reason we got that was because the person that was hosting it was from DC. And it was that
Here's
little
what I
5 minutes intro, and then what else?
yeah, critics. But okay. There's gotta be vision with that. You gotta be somebody to be able to know how to spin narrative. I think
Mm-hmm.
absolutely I could floss the whole regime if I had the funding to lead the Go Go 50.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me it's about how you tell a story. If they turn Mo Chilla into the whole Go Go 50 and they just shut down well I don't know with this camp with this with the POTUS over there because he probably be to try to call it all type of crap be calling National Guard out on everybody but if you do a huge festival that only the DMV knows. And if you broadcast that joint out just for people to know what they missing, it's a
Mm-hmm.
wrap. It's a wrap. The reason why people can't vision it is because they've never seen it here.
Yeah. But see,
I think
that's what
it's
I
doable.
mean by like the difference between hip hop at 50 and go go at 50 because we can celebrate 50 as a go go, but that's us celebrating go go. That's not music as a whole celebrating go go because, like you said, we haven't put it out there beyond the DMV for
Mhm.
anybody beyond the DMV to really care about the fact that go go is 50.
Yeah, but and I would say this: if that's the case, and you look at it from that perspective, and again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I definitely hear what you're saying, and I definitely agree. But I feel like, and from my perspective, if that matters to anybody, the things that's been put out has been a series of jabs. They ain't nobody then put nothing to a hook to try to go for that knockout. And a
Mm-hmm.
knockout would be you have 50 years of this that is the genre is physically in the hip hop Hall of Fame,
Mm-hmm.
physically for one of the greatest to ever do it, widely recognized as one of the greatest to ever do it. Everybody knows what it is. People just don't hear it much because we can't get out of our own way. And that's why I'm saying
True that.
if we were to mobilize and come together for once to celebrate what is ours anyway to celebrate. No fighting, no bickering, no bullshit, no BS, no YNs, no none of that extra stupid shit. But we throw a jam. One of the biggest jams that anybody's like the fucking house party pajama jammy jam of all goddamn jams. Everybody gonna be talking about it. Then people gonna be paying attention to, oh, what's
Mhm.
that sound? What's that? Oh, why they do that? Because the shit was like you said, the shit was in school days. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The shit was, you know what I'm saying? Like the people know about the butt now. They know
Yeah.
about the
But you
water
know
dance.
what? Yeah, but if you we like if people outside would say like those who do know go go from outside of DMV and you ask them like, okay, name a go go song, nothing they're not naming any songs from the 2000s.
Oh, agree. Agree.
We are in 2025. We are a fourth of the way through the new century. And if you ask somebody from Chicago, New York, Cali, whatever the case may be, do you know? First of all, do you know go go? And if they say yes, and you ask them to name a go go band or go go song, they're not naming anything from this millennium. That's the
I,
biggest issue. It's not that it's not people outside of DMV that know it. Like you said, they haven't seen it enough for it to be a legitimate music genre. It's a nostalgia
And
Go-Go's
you
is
said it exactly.
even to us, even to us here, we're so caught up on what we used to do back in the day, the music back in the day, how it was like back in the day, that we stuck on our glory days of our own lives,
Hmm.
and we won't let go grow, because that means that we've outgrown go,
Right.
or we the old heads of go-go. So go-go stays the same place it's been since the 80s and 90s. And if that never grows, then us as individuals don't have to worry about feeling old, because what we know is still what's the main thing. Because if you go see Backyard Junkyard, you listen to a 1998 Junkyard and a 2025 Junkyard, it probably sounds the same. It probably has a lot of, I'm not saying it's not sound the same.
Yeah.
There's a
That
lot
is.
of the same songs. Some of the songs have been remixed and updated over the years, but it's still Loose Booty. It's still, you know what I'm saying, John Wayne. It's still Rough It Off.
Right.
And they can continue to get money doing that, because we're stuck in the nostalgia of what we were doing when that came out.
Yeah. One
and
thousand
and,
percent.
and we going I don't want the new stuff, because the new stuff, if you do new music, that's gonna make me feel old, because that's not the music that came out when I was young. So like when I was at Art All Night a couple weeks ago in Minnesota Avenue and Northeast Groovers performed, and
Mm.
Hug was like, he was like, this is the first time we performed in Northeast since we performed at the McDonald's over there in Minnesota Avenue.
Damn.
And when he said that, I was like, yo, I was there at the McDonald's on Minnesota Avenue. Like, if that's the last time y'all was there, it's still a lot of the same shit y'all playing from that day. That was 1997.
That's what I'm like. Damn.
I was a senior in high school living over there on Minnesota Avenue. If PGC came, they shut down the McDonald's parking lot. Me and all the good niggas from over there was front and center, and I remember it because I was like my first time somebody saying my name on the mic. First time anybody saying my name on the microphone, and I was like, damn, 97. If you go back and find that tape, I'm sure a lot of the stuff they performed in the McDonald's parking lot in 1997 is the same shit they did in 2025 in the Safeway parking lot, and people still like, I don't care, I love it. They can
Yeah.
do the same music for the next 25 years, and I'm still love it. I don't need no new stuff from groups. Even though Junkyard have put out a couple new jumps over the last couple of years, they don't care about Love Soul Crank. Even though Love Soul, they play Love Soul Crank, they'll do Love Soul Crank more so for like family community events. They don't really
Right.
do it as much in the clubs, because the people in the club, we just want the stuff that we grew up on. I don't care about the new stuff. And I
I,
think the fans are part of the reason why go-go is stagnant with, like you said earlier. Fans are scared to do something new, because if they do something new and stop doing stuff that the fans want, the fans don't want new stuff. So if I do new stuff and stop doing my old stuff, I'm scared that the fans are not going to embrace the new stuff. And I understand kind of catering to your crowd, but like you said earlier, as an artist, you do your art based on, because you're an artist and you believe in your art.
yeah.
And if people ain't feeling it, people ain't feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, I mean, because then what people do is they be like, "Oh, okay, so we gonna have the pieces from this band and play with the pieces of this band, and it's gonna be like the faces that you think you thought you know." You know what I mean? Like I don't,
Mm.
it's like just to try something new. No, like I look at the end of the day, I look at it from a perspective of crank is crank. Anything else that it don't work, right? You can plug and play any of these bands with any of these singers and all these people, and it'll work because all of them are credible musicians. But that lead
Yep.
talker, right?
Mm.
But what I'm gonna say is this: with regard to, so I created when I first touched down. The reason why I told you I shot the Kimberly Michelle joint from the phone. I said that night I started this initiative called We Outside DNB, and that's just a joint because the difference, the dichotomy between the East Coast and the West Coast is that based off of like everything that you said with regard to the old bands and playing stuff and nobody knows and nobody's tracking and nobody's checking is that to me, go-go was like a doo-wop tape from New York back in the 90s. It's like you don't get to, you know what I mean? Like you don't see nothing, you don't really know nothing. It's underground.
Mm.
That's always been Go-Go's MO. From the splash parties to the all of these other like if you ain't ever been to a go-go, you don't know what time it is. You can hear the tapes, but if you ain't ever been to one, you don't know what time it is. And I feel like the more people start to film and produce content involving, that's why to me why Front Porch, shout out to Nucci, Front Porch is doing his thing because you organically get to see people doing their thing. You get to, you know what I'm saying? Like you
Mhm.
visual, we're in a visual world. We're in a visual space. Audio was one thing, but people want to see you do what you say you can
Mm.
do. And that's the thing
Yep.
around here. Nobody likes to be seen. Nobody, that's why I said earlier, there's no commercial. I mean, what marketing and promos at it? Who got a commercial? You can go up and down my Instagram page. I got a commercial for just me blowing my nose. You feel me? So I feel like it's one of those things as to where the more you set the narrative by putting out visual content, people will get accustomed to your brand. You will instantly leapfrog 89, 85 to 90% of the people in the space because nobody else is taking the time to do that. Then
Mhm.
you got this whole 50, because I didn't even know about the 50-year go 50. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna put everything I got behind that until that day comes. Because that's a big moment. So I feel like, with that being said, Gogo deserves the opportunity to spread his wings. Gogo deserves the opportunity for everybody to hear it. Gogo is not something that you can keep to yourself and, well, this is ours. Well, it's going to be ours regardless. That's how I feel about it. If you keep it to yourself and then you stifle the growth, you stifle, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't, the best marriages aren't ones that you keep. You got to keep your wife or your husband next to you at all times. It
Mm.
just don't work. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's the thing. If GoGo takes that leap into a visual space where there's a lot more stuff, you can get brand endorsements and deals and stuff like that. You might be able to get something with DTLR, where you get, what I'm saying, D with obsession with the shoes. You know what I mean? You might be able to get a Sprite deal with the Buka Bop on it. You know what I mean? Like it could be anything.
Yeah.
But people so
We
scary
just
that they
need
don't
those.
understand it.
We need those people that understand that business space. That the business of go-go is not just how many shows you can book. The business of go-go is how much you can expect, how many different pockets your hands can be in using go-go to get in as many pockets as you can, and using go-go in as many ways as possible to generate money.
Absolutely. And that's all it is. It's
And it
leverage.
goes beyond just what you do on stage. Because, like you said, you got somebody like Big G that will have his own shoes.
Yeah.
You know what? Big G got his own shoes. But Big G got a fan base that's going to spend money and do what Big G say do. That's why you see him on billboards or whatever the government do during the COVID. You got all these different signs telling people to socially distance and wear your mask, and you got that one sign with Big G. So the Big G say put on your mask. The government knows that Big G has that power to influence people to do things. And Big G
Exactly.
itself, you're going to say your stuff and tell you to stop the violence and all that good stuff. And
Yeah.
if people who knew business understood the reach and influence that certain people in go-go have, then they'll be able to help those people.
Absolutely. But that's the thing. I think people need to understand exactly just that. Because if people don't understand just that, there's no growth. That's why it's stagnant. It's because no people don't understand that. You know what I mean? And when we get to that place where as to where the people really start to do that, then things will take care of itself from that point on. You know, you can't have too many people trying to have leverage and build something that you know is stale. Nobody wants to get a stale cookie from whatever that cookie shop was over there in Iris Mall. You know, everybody wanted the piping fresh. You know, and I think that's just that there's something to that, man. I really truly do, and I feel like it's prime for an upgrade. It being go-go, it's prime for an upgrade. That's how I feel about it. 1000%. You know, I just wish more people would see that. I really do. Because if more people saw that, then more people would understand just how important it is for go-go to move and grow and expand. You know what I mean?
That's for sure. That's what's up. That's my man Donnie B GotDaBeats. Tell them where they can find you at, Donnie.
Sure, you can find me on social media at DonnieBGotDaBeats. I'm on, if worst case scenario, just Google me. You can find me. I'm damn near everywhere. I'm even on Zanji, Telegram. I got a link tree. I got all types of websites, and a lot of products. So feel free to just Google me, reach out. I'd love to talk to anybody. I'm easy to get a hold of for sure.
That's what's up. Thank you for your time, sir, on
Appreciate you,
this
Super Tim.
wonderful edition of Say What the Go-Go Show exclusively on the Go-Go Royalty app. You can find all new episodes of Say What the Go-Go Show right here on the Go-Go Royalty app. Make sure you get your all access sign up. It's only $49.99 for the entire year. You get exclusive content on 60 different bands, 3,000 plus different PA performances from these bands. So if you're a go-go lover, you can get that for the low. If you got a PayPal, you can break that little $49.99 into 4 different payments. If you're broke, you just cheap like me and just can't fathom paying $50 for something. You can break it up into smaller payments and make you feel better about yourself. You want to be on Say What the Go-Go Show? Find me on social media on IG at Forever Love the Crank. That's the number 4 EVERLUHDA Crank on the IG and say, "What up, Super? I'm trying to go on there and talk to Go-Go." We're gonna get you on here and tell the stories of Go-Go because everybody got a story. It ain't just about the people on the stage. It's all about us as a Go community telling our stories and sharing our info so we can all know a little bit more about the music we love, that good old Go-Go. Until next time, catch me in the streets, catch me in the studio, catch me online, because if you ain't there, you ain't nowhere. I'm UrHero SupaTim, and I'm out.
Peace.